While we await for this event to kickstart, which is the second part of the event of the proceedings now of the proclamation of King Charles III, let's bring in a guest. Our guest is joining us from London, a political analyst, Akoman. We may not be able to see you right now, but of course we can hear you. He joins us to help us walk through this historic moment. Thank you so much for joining us on the news this hour. We've seen various prime ministers, 15 prime ministers now, that some of which are the 15 prime ministers that Queen Elizabeth II met during a 70-year reign on the throne as queen. Can you help us better understand how this historic moment, the significance of this historic moment, and what is the reaction around London at this time?
Good morning, and thank you very much for this opportunity to feed you on what's happening in London. Obviously, the Queen has been in office for 70 years, so she's like a monument for this country. Her passing has been very sad, and very many people are affected, are saddened by this fact. Many people pour in Buckingham Palace to lay flowers, to just share the grief with others. And yesterday, the Prince of Charles, who is now King Charles III, was at Buckingham Palace meeting people, basically, and exchanging the sorrow, expressing the views on issues, and obviously it's a well-planned issues already happening for generations. The Queen passed away, so the heir will be in office from now on, and today he's going to be officially proclaimed King of not only England, but also King of the United Kingdom, and also head of state for many other countries.
A very interesting point. Of course, this is a time where a lot of persons will miss the Queen, because for more than half of our lives, we've had to, of course, experience or have an encounter, maybe not personally or physically, but have an encounter even in our history books about what the Queen symbolizes and what she represents as a part of the Commonwealth and a part of democratic and diplomatic relations around the world. But if you would look at how the Queen has been able to sustain a reign for the last 70 years, what would you say is the most striking, or what are the most striking features of this Queen as we proclaim the next King of England?
Well, what we need to retain from the reign of the Queen Elizabeth II, she's been through the latest transformation or revolution in our communities, from telephone to first TV up to today, the internet. And the Queen has been the embodiment of the community. She represents the whole community, and she's been trying to put all these communities together, not only the United Kingdom, but also the Commonwealth. So her impact will be massively felt throughout not only this country, but across the Commonwealth countries and also across the world, because as you know, she has traveled to many countries across the globe. And I think she's considered as the most traveled monarch in history. And 70 years is quite 7 decades, so it's been a long time. And she has been able to adapt herself, to try to adapt the community to the changes throughout this decade. And it's just sad, but this is life. She has completed her duties, and now she'll be laid to rest. And obviously, things need to be continuing, and Prince Charles will be in charge. Obviously, having a monarch in England is different from other political situation in other countries. The monarch has a role to play, and also the parliament has their own role. So they work together, parliament as well as the Queen, and she's still the head of state, or the King will be also the head of state. So the head of state, yeah?
Back to our guest now, Mr. Alex Akoman is a political analyst that joins us from London, of course, to help us better, of course, appreciate this moment. We see that the Queen, King Charles III, relationship with the Queen, if you would look at how well they've been able to manage the affairs of the UK and the Commonwealth, and of course, all the activities they have to, of course, do here on Earth. How would you what would you say, if you look at Prince Charles III and the Queen, what's their relationship like, and how do you think this will forge a new Britain or a new reign for King Charles?
King Charles, obviously, as you know, has been the higher for the last 70 years. And obviously, he has learned with his mom throughout these years. But the last few years,
now who is joining us from London, Alex Akoman is a political analyst. Thank you so much for staying with us through this historic moment. Earlier, we were talking about the relationship between the Queen and King Charles now. What would you say he will be doing? Of course, we've heard him say he will be committing himself to a lifelong love and service, which was what his mother epitomized.
Right. Prince Charles obviously was the heir to the throne, and he's been the well-trained, the best-trained person to move into his next job. So over the last few years, especially the last 5-6 years, the Queen had dedicated most of her duty to Charles. And for instance, the head of Commonwealth, for instance, Charles took over and has been managing this department. But on top of that, there are other issues, other areas he's been dealing with behind closed doors. So he's been trained for years, and now the time has come. Even though he has to wait for his mom to die in a very difficult circumstances, but duty calls him now, and that's how he has to stand. And even though there is a grief as a person, as a child grieving as a person who has lost his parent, his mom, he still have to stand for his country, for his duty. And that's what he's doing now. So as a trained and now the king of his country, he will assume duties. And now with his colleagues and those who are working with him, he will be planning the funeral of the late Queen. So he has a very good relationship with his family members, as well as now all these people will be working with. And also Charles has been involved in various activities like charities. He understands the nature, he understands the environment, and he has been dedicated in his life to ensuring that we maintain our environment safe enough, clean enough. And these are things he's been doing for the last 20, 25 years or more. Now he's in charge of the country. Most of his charity work will be taken by somebody else, I think his wife, and he would be now focused on the duties of running the country. Obviously, he has a government, but in this country, even though he's king, the prime minister of the country has to meet the king every week. I think it was most of the times on Wednesdays, and he follows what the government is doing on the ground on daily basis for the people of his country, not only England, but the whole of the United Kingdom. And as you may know, the king of the United Kingdom is also head of state of this country, as well as head of state of many other countries across the whole globe, including Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and many other territories. So he's not just in charge of this country, this kingdom, but also in charge of many other countries across the globe.